Oh, hi there, everyone. Welcome to another stream. Just need to check that everything's working. It seems to be okay. And right, so the objective today is to just go through some little fixes that I've found for the justflight PA28. And I've had this for a few days now, and when I first got it kind of set up, there was a couple of things that I wasn't quite happy with, and with a bit of looking around and all that kind of thing, I managed to have found some fixes. So there was basically three things. So let me just see if I can pull up the website as well. So yeah, there you go. In effect, there was three things that I wanted to have a look at, and the first thing was the dirty windscreens that are on the PA28 from justflight. Now, you know, that's something you either like with things that are worn like that, or you don't particularly like. And in particular with the front screen and the left and right windows, for me, it was just a little bit overdone. And then the other thing we'll have a look at is the flying position. So I fly a PA28. Obviously, that's not the exact model. The Arrow that justflight have just released, the Arrow 3, but it's very similar. And for me, the seating position was a little bit off. And then the other thing was the idle RPM. For me, when taxiing, I think the aircraft was just a bit too fast, and I think coming into land, it had a little bit too much, I guess, inertia when you're on idle. So I think that was down to the fact that the RPM was just a little bit too high. Right, so the first thing we're going to do then is just have a look at basically the dirty screens. So what I've got here is on the website, and I'll share a link with you to the website shortly. But in effect, there's a way to make the screens actually clean. The actual model, or the justflight PA28, comes with all the bits and pieces that you need in terms of textures. But what you need to do is to update some folders. So it's not something that comes from the, I guess, the flypad or the controller screen that comes with the kit. It's something you have to manually do. So what we'll do, we'll pull up a couple of screens and see if we can go through this. But in essence, what you're going to have to do, that's probably just worth mentioning. Here's my installation folder location. Now, I think if you have Stream, because I directly downloaded mine, it might be a bit different for you, but that's what my one is, and that might give you a good start in trying to find it. What I suggest you do is in that folder, let's just see if we can pull up the Explorer file, or the Explorer folder as well. Where are we? Hopefully you can see that as well now. Maybe not. Hold on, here we go. So many buttons to press. So many buttons to press. Right. Is that it? Yes, there you go. Right. So in basically the folder, the main home folder for the PA28, which is this one, the community. Hang on, can we move that? Sorry, I'm not used to working on these screens at the same time. There we go. The community folder with justflight aircraft PA28 Arrow 3, you will have a texture.vc folder. So what you want to do is to find that, which is basically here, and you can see what I've done is just copy it and paste in a copy of it there. So that's just like a safe kind of area where you can put that folder, but it's not too drastic with justflight because it comes with the installer, and one of the options when you run the program, the exe file that you download, is to repair or reinstall. So if this all goes completely wrong, even if you've not made backups, you can just reinstall the aircraft as well. So it's not too much to worry about. So you make a copy of that. So that's the first step. So the texture folder, just by copying and pasting it into the same location, and you'll see that it has copy appended to the end of the additional folder that it creates. Then what you want to do is copy the contents of this folder here. So what you do is go back up, and you can see you need to go back up to in effect, community. Where are we? Airplanes, justflight. So in the actual install folder here, you have to go to cockpit. And what you do is find the clean folder and copy. I just basically copied all these things here. And then you go back. So I'll scroll my way up here. You go to Sim Objects, Airplanes, Arrow, and then in this folder where we made the copy, don't put it in the copy. You then paste all of those things into this folder. And when it says, do you want to overwrite? You just say, yes, please, I do. Okay, so let me just get rid of that. And what I'll do is just show you what the outcome is of doing that. Okay, so the reason we've done this is because this is the before, and hopefully you can see, oh, hang on. I need to just bring this down. So hopefully you can now see, just wait for the screen to catch up. Yeah, you can now see basically all the artifacts that are on the screen here. And they're really, unless it's something you're really into, where you really like those different kind of artifacts and the wear and tear. I do like the wear and tear on the aircraft, but I think just because I would normally not fly with the screen this dirty, or maybe that scratched. Maybe I would if I couldn't clean it off, but if it's supposed to imitate dirt, then I wouldn't want it there. And then off to the left-hand side, you can see there's this kind of, I guess it's artifacting of some sort. This is all added, all this at the top here, as is the patchiness on top of the paintwork of the aircraft as well. And it's just a bit distracting. And you know, Microsoft Flight Simulator is just wonderful when you're flying because of the way the scenery is produced. So that's the two things we're trying to solve by doing this. Now let's have a look. So look at this again. So you can see that's got all the artifacts on it. And now after, you can see it's all totally clear. So that makes quite a bit of difference there. And then if we look at the left window, before, you can see again there, it's still there. And now afterwards, completely clear. So you've got a nice clear window to look at. And I think even the texturing on the aircraft, or the paintwork on the aircraft, is clean. Let's have a closer look at that. Yeah, you can see it's cleaned up some of the patchiness that's on the aircraft as well. Right, okay, so that's quite straightforward to do. I'll share a link in the description below when I finish the video for you to find on the website, and you can then just follow this through. But I think just to mention, I didn't come up with this. I found it on avsim.com and by a chap called Tim HH. So as I say there, thanks Tim for that one. And that's the first fix. So the first fix is to just tidy up your kind of view out of the cockpit. So let's just jump back into the cockpit. I've got Microsoft Flight Simulator running, and you can see now that it's basically lovely and shiny. You can see out the window nicely, and yeah, and I think really what would be really nice is if on the kind of, I guess I shouldn't really call it an iPad because it's not an iPad, but it would be good to have that as an option where you select it, and then next time you load the aircraft in, it either loads with either the dirty version or the clean version. So that's the first thing. Now let's go back to our website view. And the next thing we're going to try and look at, or the next thing we're going to look at, is the flying position. So like I say, I fly the PA28, and for me, the initial position, so that's control 1, I think it is, in the settings, that is there. It just didn't feel right in terms of kind of view. If you've flown the PA28, you know what the view looks like, and this is similar to the PA28. So as I think I mentioned in some of the text on the website, some of this stuff is very subjective, but I'm just sharing with you what I've done to fix it for me. So how do we do this? You can see what I've done here. I'll show you the before and after. So here's the before, and for me, there's way too much of the cowling showing. Now, when I fly the aircraft, I seem to have to look up to see that much, and it gave me the impression of always climbing, and it made flying the aircraft a little bit difficult. So, well, not difficult, but just not as straightforward as it would feel like in real life. So with this fix that I'm going to show you, we then pop this one up. This is the view that we'll end up with, which for me, I think is much more realistic of what I see in the PA28. So again, we're going to change some files, or one file. And if we just jump back into the main screen, we can see basically that's what it looks like in real life outside of pictures. That's sat there waiting for us to fly. And I think I probably will try and do a bit of flying after we've done these fixes. So now let's go back to the website. Right, okay. So what we need to do again, we're going to fix the flying position. Now, this might not be a fix for you, but when I've shown you this, you can then see how you might want to adjust it or how you might not want to adjust it at all. But so this is what I found after a bit of testing. I've been, because of being a content creator, trying to create different things. You spend a lot of time messing around with the cameras and that sort of stuff anyway. So what I've done is found a way how I can get it to look just how I want it. So what we're going to do is pull up the Explorer screen as well so that we can see. And we'll go back up to basically into the folder there. And then we'll go into Sim Objects, Airplanes, and the arrow. And this is where you find all the CFG parts there. So here's basically, you just, if you've got a Windows machine and you'll have to change your name for whatever your name is, and then you will be able to find this, or you can just follow the path through to find it. So the file that we're going to be working on is this cameras.cfg. Same thing as last time. Right click it, copy it, paste it, and copy will be added to the end of the actual file in the same location. That should back up. As I say, it doesn't really matter because you can reinstall this all over again. Right, what we're going to do is open the original CFG file. So let's do that. And I think also by the magic of Streamlabs, we can pull up basically this file as well. Right, okay, so this is cameras CFG. Now, go back to the instructions that I've read now. What we need to do is change this setting. So it's the initial X, Y, Z. And we're only going to change the middle setting, which is the Y. So where is that in the file? So this is the file here. And, oh, hang on, sorry, I need to make sure you can see this. Apologies. I don't think you could actually see what I was doing there. So, why can't we see this? I think you can see it, but I don't think it's actually scrolling. Let me have a look. I might need to bear with me. No, sorry, I can't change that. I'm not quite sure how to do that. But what I can do is talk you through it. So, so this is the file inside the file that you're looking to edit. So cameras.cfg, and you're then trying to find this line, initial XYZ or XYZ. So you're going to change the middle two zeros or 0.0 for minus 0.05. So minus 0.05. And then all you're going to do is save that. Oh, I meant to mention on the last one, to bring in the window changes, if you use the developer menu bar, which is up here, you can actually use aircraft selector. Let's get rid of that. And just load the aircraft again. And that will bring in the changes that you made earlier on in the with pasting in the textures. However, with the changes you make to the cameras.cfg file, you have to restart the sim, because for me, that didn't make the change when I tried to use the developer option. Okay, so once you've done that, then you're going to restart Microsoft Flight Simulator and load in. You'll restart Microsoft Flight Simulator and load in. And then what you'll do is you'll be able to see the different flying positions. So your default flying position should be looking like basically this, which is much more realistic, and that's pretty much the height that you would see, or when you sit in the aircraft, where you would see the wings and all the instruments as well. So hopefully that's useful to you. So we've got one more thing to look at, and the next thing we're going to look at is the RPM. So again, this is a bit of a funny one because the PA28 that I fly, let's just go back to the website view. No way does it RPM at 1000 RPMs, which this does. So I'll just pull this up for you. This is the how it is default. And I'll be honest, I didn't quite spot this to start with. I just knew something wasn't quite right. And I'd put in a support ticket to JustFlight saying that, you know, basically the aircraft just taxis too fast. And when you're coming in to land, it still feels like it's got a bit of inertia when you're coming into land. Didn't feel like it was properly on idle. And then I saw that basically it wasn't coming back to that 600-700 RPM, which you would expect it to. So what we're looking to do is, when we've done this fix, the idle should be at approximately 600 RPM. And if we just go back to the aircraft that's sat on the tarmac right now, and we scroll down, and that's, you can see there, that's actually what the aircraft is sat at now. That's 600 RPM. So that's what we're looking to achieve. How do we do that? Again, something else to note with this fix is basically, who was this for? I saw this also on avsim.com when I went hunting for the solution. So this is by somebody called Haskell. So thanks to Haskell for posting this. And I think actually it's been something that has played a couple of other sims, I think, other aircraft. This is a standard sort of fix that has Microsoft Flight Simulator X, I think, probably had something like this. So anyway, what we're going to do, we're going to find engines.cfg. So in the same folder, and again, you can use this to help you find it, in the same folder as we had cameras.cfg, there's also, let me just pull up the Explorer folder. You can see there is also engines.cfg. Now I've copied and pasted engines CFG there, and it's appended copy to it, so that's fine. So I've got a backup there, and I'll say again, if it does all go wrong, you can reinstall it from the main installer, so nothing to worry about there. So we can open up the file for that. Now I don't know if I can. Oh, sorry, I wasn't showing you, it wasn't on the screen. So that's the file that you want, the engines.cfg, and see if we can pull up Notepad as well, which I don't think it's scrolling for some reason. No, it's not. So that's a shame, but never mind. I'll try and fix that for next time maybe. But what you're looking to find, let's just make sure you can see this. You're looking to find idle RPM mechanical efficiency scala. So you can just copy that and search for it in the file, and you're going to change it from 1 to 0.49, 0.49. So all you're going to change is the 1 at the end to the 0.49, and then save the file. Now again, this is I don't think this works with the developer refresh. So that the developer refresh is where you click the developer button, get the aircraft selector, and press load. And what that does, it kind of just thumps you back on the ground, but it reloads everything. And if you've made any changes in the kind of settings files, normally it will actually show you what changes you've made. So that's quite good. Right, so that's about it. That's the 3 things. And yeah, I think it's probably worth mentioning that some of the things that I've mentioned, some of this is subjective. So look, if you don't agree, that's fine. It might not be right for you. It's just coming from my experiences of having flown and having been flown in the PA28. The seating position, as I say, wasn't right for me, and nor was the RPM. And these little fixes do fix that. And for me, just cleaning up the screen to be able to see out better is a bit of a step forwards. So yeah, once again, thanks to all the folks that have referenced something. So while we've got the aircraft all fired up, let's see if we can get it in the air, shall we? So I'm at my home airport, which is EGHF. So that's Lyon-Solent. And what we'll do, let me just fire up the main screen. Now, for some reason, I don't think my sound is coming through from the sim. So that's a bit of a shame because we can't hear the engine. So I'm not quite sure what I've done there. I'm still trying to get used to all these buttons and things for streaming. But anyway, it's what it is. Right, okay, so I'm just set up on the runway ready to go. So feet on the brakes, and I think we're flaps clean. Yeah, flaps are clean. And we'll get brakes off and we'll do a circuit here at Lyon-Solent and then come back in. So we're looking for about 65 knots, I believe, for the takeoff. There we go. And we'll try and keep on that runway heading. I haven't actually checked the weather, so I'm not really sure what I'm flying into here. So it's a bit of a schoolboy error, but never mind. It's what it is. So 200 feet then, positive rate of climb, gear up, flaps are up, carb heat is off. Yeah, sorry about it. I've got no sound coming in from the engine, so it seems a little bit quiet. So what you probably is to have a little bit of music, I suppose. That might be all right. Okay, there's 1,000 feet, which is the circuit height at Lee. So I haven't quite got used to this because I don't normally fly a complex aircraft. Now, my understanding is we bring the EGT back to 1500 and I keep control of the aircraft at the same time, and then trim the propeller for 2200. So we probably wouldn't do this in the circuit, to be honest, but never mind. It's a bit of a sketchy circuit, but the reason we're doing this is just to have a look at what the idle is like. So we'll keep 1,000 feet in the circuit. Right, so heading downwind then, just coasting back in. Let's get back in the cockpit. Yeah, so as you can see, this seating position is much better, really. This is just what it feels like in the aircraft. Maybe you can try these settings, and if you don't like them, you can always put them back because, of course, you made a copy of the files. So. Right, so brakes undercarriage is undercarriage is retractable. Mixture is rich, so let's just bring the propeller back to where it should be, I guess. I need to just read up on flying one of these complex aircraft. And kick it around a little bit, right rudder. And basically what we do is head off. The head in here will serve us well if we just head towards the harbour, Portsmouth Harbour, get the Millennium Tower pretty much where we want it. So I'm going to get a bit caught out here because, as I say, I'm not used to flying this aircraft. So what we're going to do is, so we're within flap range, 2-stage of flaps, gear down. So I'm going to 70 knots and down we go. And then I'll just trim a little bit there. Trim for 70. So we are sort of off our circuit a bit here, but never mind. I'm losing a bit too much height here. Bit of power. Check left for traffic. It's definitely too low here. Just give it a little bit of juice just to get a bit of height, and that would probably mean that I'm too high then. Of course, even with all these fixes, it doesn't mean to say you can actually fly the aircraft. Right, so make our turn. Yeah, see, that never used to feel right at all. That didn't, being that high. Okay, so carb heat is off. Bit fast for sure. Last stage of flaps. So not a particularly stable approach, but nonetheless. Idle we go. Yeah, it's completely different characteristics to what it was when it was 1,000 continuous there. There we go. Right, folks, well, hopefully you found that reasonably interesting. There's 3 fixes there that can really change the kind of characteristics of this aircraft. So thanks very much for watching, and look out for some more, basically, kind of some more videos. I'm trying to get more done, so, you know, it's, and learning how to do it and all that kind of stuff as well. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.